Hello. Lovely to see you. Hello. Let's just let everybody in. Zimana, I will. Hello. I will make you the co-meister. Here we are. Thank you. Brilliant. Hello, everybody. Lovely to see you. Wow, they're flowing in. This is great. So today I've just got 3 videos, and that's it. So Zimana, I'll leave you to pick up anyone else who comes. I think the link disappears when the video stops because the video evaporates, doesn't it? And then it goes off to be processed. Facebook couldn't be more difficult if it tried. Okay, so thank you so much for coming in. I just wanted to show you a few things, really. The first is a bit of Hear My Prayer, and I hope you can see that now. This is a live version by Vox Luminis, and the reason to pick this one is that actually they move their arms about a bit, and then there are some comments about this. So if you look down here, we'll watch it in a second, near the end, somebody says, okay, at the very last comment, what gives with the gyrations? Let the music speak for itself. Sung a bit too far forward for my... Okay, so there's a bit of policing going on there. Now, do you remember we've had several videos where singers have moved their bodies while they're singing. We had that gorgeous one with the 2 countertenors who were doing quite a lot of hand moving. And we had, which I think was a piece of Handel. And then we've had others where singers in the choir have individually been gesturing. The comment above here says, better to listen to them than to watch. So many mannerisms. Still a very nice performance. And then he gets some answers. So he says, that's funny. I prefer to watch them in rehearsal and see them moving or not in their own personal manner as they respond to and create the beauty of the music, instead of being subject to the need to be stiff and properly mannered in performance. This is an aspect of people arguing about decorum and policing the extent to which the body should be visibly involved in the music. And then Lawrence here says, it is about the music, not about the musician. Now, this is a classic formulation of giving the authority to the composer and the score and the symbol and taking it away from the singers who are supposed to serve the music. If the musician thinks that gesturing will convince me she or he is playing or singing with emotion and expression, that person is wrong. The gesturing distracts from my concentration on the music. Excellent. I mean, you can shut your eyes. But the other thing is that the singers in making these gestures, I think, are not drawing attention to themselves. They're trying to make the very best phrasing and sound. And then he's answered again by Hervé, who says rather personally, you obviously never sang in a choir, or you wouldn't assume singers are making gestures to impress an audience. How much is there a need to do so in a rehearsal in the first place? So I just set that up so you can think about it while they sing. Now you're expecting them to be dancing. Actually, it's very slight what they do. Here we go. Let me see if I can unstick the picture a bit more. There we go. You lost the picture, didn't you? Everyone solemnly nods. I think the internet at lunchtime is more difficult than when I do my evening talks, when probably my neighbours are doing less PlayStation or whatever they do. He said, thinking of the retired vicar next door. So let's just finish him off. Now, let's be honest, that was far from extreme. I mean, they're watched by a camera, so we happen to witness them making the sound, but that's not the same as them. They're not doing anything which is outwardly affecting or demonstrative. They're just trying to root down into their body to make the sound that they need to make. And I find it extraordinary that someone would then write, I'm totally distracted, stop drawing attention to yourself. And I think we need to really think, because we will have people like this in our audiences who are sitting there judging how we've dressed, how we've stood, and they want us to be effectively disembodied in making music, because they want us to reproduce the score. And what we need to do is to pull that music making back to ourselves. So there's one thought. The next one, actually a little bit of the Josquin. I hope this works. Goodness me. So this is quite a high live performance. I don't know how the tenors survived it. So this is the Missa L'homme sexti toni, the sixth tone. What happens in this is that I'll leave it on smaller screen in case that was the cause. What happens in this is, as you may know, is that the popular L'homme tune is running forwards and backwards against itself at the same time. Meanwhile, the choir, the top four parts, create cascades of arpeggios and runs of scales in what feels like the most modern piece that Josquin wrote. It could have been composed in the late 20th century. It's almost like a minimalist piece with this extraordinary intellectual structure underneath in the tenor and bass part. And this is the piece which gave me that gift in Italy of the losing yourself in it. Let's have just a little of this rather nice performance. And it's seizing up again. I mean, that is... It's difficult. It's difficult, really, to... Every time you encounter it... I mean, did I mention that the top 4 parts are in canon as well? I mean, you think, how does this composer... This is why Josquin's so fascinating, because he feeds your soul, and then you notice all the maths underneath, and you think, I just don't know how you conceived this. And it's quite clear he made a frame for that third Agnus, and it's a project. It's a separate... It's not in the style of any of the rest of the mass, but then he gets the tune dead centre to the musical texture, and then he sends the singers off on this exploration of what are like the fundamental ingredients of music. Just running scales and chords. There's nothing there. But the invention is immense because it's so pared down. There's nothing excess in Josquin. There's no fat, and that I think is why he satisfies us. If you're a musician, then he is for you, you know. But if you know nothing about what's happening there, you may well still find it spiritually and emotionally extraordinary. I won't play all of the last extract. Oh, by the way, I really recommend that video I put in the list of... it's Elam Rotem, who's done a lot of talks lately, and he's a great musician. But he does these little talks on how to understand texture. So this is the one I recommended. I won't play it, but how to make a masterpiece out of 2 intervals. And it's just amusing, light, great graphics, and actually really, really sound teaching. So I really recommend that to you. Okay, so the last little bit is this what is an incredibly formal recording by this choir in Washington State, and they're sitting with Gjeilo, who is the composer who's quite popular these days. Is sort of sub Eric Whittaker, Morton Lauridsen place, and his music's simple and a bit cheesy and filmic. But I love his Ubi Caritas. In fact, months ago, I put on the list that group, I think they're called King's Return, the 4 black guys who stood in the stairwell and sang this piece really beautifully. Really great. So this is a really white, dinner-jacketed performance of extraordinary formality, but it's called In the Moment. So the idea is spontaneity. The spontaneity comes from, I think, a fairly well-prepared series of improvisations by the composer who's sitting at the piano. You can see this is 6 minutes long, so what I'll do is I'll start it, and then I'll whiz to the last minute and a half or something. And again, I'll leave it small scale so it doesn't slip. I think this is exquisite, and I really, if you're in the mood for this, need a bit of a pick-me-up emotionally, this is amazing. Now, can you see it now? Just nod. Okay, let's pray. down just a little bit. We'll go to about here. Lovely. I think it probably helped if you know that piece already, because then you think, wow, this miniature a cappella piece has suddenly been expanded to this fantasia. So if you don't know it, you're probably thinking, but actually as a small choral piece of unpretentious directness, it's great. And then you get this, it's nice to see the composer really, and also he's quite jazzy at the end. I quite liked some of that augmented fourth stuff he was doing. Naughty, a little bit naughty. All right, well, I hope those, you see, I do like cheese sometimes, and you can imagine me now sitting with a beer watching some of the Glastonbury rock. Anyway, all right, it's so nice to see you, friends, and I will catch up with what you've written, but if you want to unmute, you're very welcome. I don't know if I have to allow you to, but you can, and then I'll go and have some lunch. And thanks for coming when you didn't know I was going to be a bit headachy and but it's so good to have the second dose, and it will make things possible. Let's pray.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's lovely to see you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye bye.